everybody? This is Moe. I'm here with my brother Kenny. Say what's up, Kenny.
What's up?
Welcome to the first ever installment of the Predacast, a podcast all about running that me and my dear brother here have decided to embark upon. And so we're here. We got some JT. JT drinks on me, and we thought, as sort of a rough guide for this first episode, we would talk about how the two of us got into running, sort of as two guys that maybe weren't supposed to get into running, or who weren't likely to get into running, still maybe feel or look a little out of place, not your average runners, one might say, on race day.
Definitely.
In a sea of neon spandex and man buns, we look suspiciously foreign. Okay, so how did I get into running? Well, here's my background. Played lots of sports as a kid. Like a lot of kids, got out of playing sports when I got to high school. Why? Well, other things appear more interesting. Girls, marijuana, music. I did play soccer my first year of high school. I played on the high school soccer team. But in general, I got out of athletics. Previously, played a bunch of different sports. I was pretty good at track and field too. But got out of athletics in high school. 18, got into Muay Thai for the first time. That wasn't really because I wanted to get in shape. It's because I wanted to know how to fight. Yeah, tired of being fucking scared of dudes a lot bigger than me. Fucking, fucking with me. It's the average bullshit every guy, goes through growing up in high school, or when you hit 18 and you get your first pair of fake ID and you start going to bars for the first time, knuckleheads and assholes, wanting trouble. So I got in. I got into Muay Thai a little bit, but not super seriously, on and off. But and then I was also, after high school, my early 20s, I got into I was doing a lot of construction jobs and like warehouse jobs, heavy lifting jobs. So I started to get big. I got in shape. Late 20s, so sort of a career change. I'm not doing hard manual labor anymore, and I think, well, fuck, I got to do something now. I should say this: the best I have ever looked in my life was when I did construction.
Right on.
And didn't work out at all. Never went to the gym. Not an ounce of cardio. Never ran. Just, 40, 45 hours a week of physical labor. Best I've ever looked in my life, man. I stand by that statement.
All right.
And I was pretty jacked. People thought I worked out. Bro, you work out? I don't work out. I fucking lifted drywall and plywood all day,
Yeah.
Okay. Late 20s, not doing menial labor anymore. So I'm like, okay, I want to stay in shape. So I started going to the gym, started lifting weights. But around so that's around maybe 24 to 26. By about 28, I start getting fat. And so at this time, I go to a gym regularly, but I don't do cardio. I just do weights. I start getting fat. Now, for all those listeners out there, you might not know Moe and Kenny. We come from a big family. Is that fair to say, bro?
I agree with that statement.
Okay, so genetically, we come from a bloodline where of people who have trouble losing weight and who gain weight very easily. And I remember this funny thing. One day I realized I had gotten fat. I just fucking looked in the mirror and was like, oh shit, is that me? Fuck happened? And I remember talking to our dad about it, I was like, Dad, like, what's going on here, He laughed. He laughed because, our father's a bigger dude. You see photos of him in his early 20s.
Yeah, he's ripped.
He's ripped.
Yeah.
He laughed at me. He's like, I knew this day would come. Like, welcome to my world, And yeah, so basically, I went through what a lot of people experience in their mid to late 20s. You just can't get away with what you used to be able to get away with. Now, you go out, pound 5 or 6 pints, end up at the Greek restaurant at 3 a.m. eating, calamari and spanicle pita. You're going to wake up the next day with a few extra pounds. So I was getting fat. At my peak, I was 235 pounds. Biggest I've ever been. And to put that in perspective, I walk around at about 200 pounds now.
Yeah, about that.
About 200 pounds. So I had an extra 35 pounds on me that I do not currently have. And I'm not skinny now. I'm not slim now. But I'm saying, I'm 200 pounds. So I was like, fuck, I can't get away with just lifting weights. I got to incorporate some cardio into this. And I had never been a runner. Always hated running. Even when I was young and I did sports, I hated running. You know what I mean? I was fast. I liked sports, but I was always terrible endurance. I was also asthmatic, so it didn't come naturally to me. I had really bad asthma as a kid. And I was like, fuck, yeah, I need to lose some weight. So I started running. Hated it. It sucked. Here's a crazy thing. My original goal was running for 10 minutes when I first started running. I remember that. That was the goal I was working towards. Running. I'd have a watch, running for 10 minutes, and that was fucking hard. Running. I remember how hard that was. Shit.
Yeah, probably what? 1.5 kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And I don't mean particularly fast. Yeah. Like a light jog, a 10-minute light jog. That was hard. But, yeah, but I stuck with it, and I broke that threshold, fell in love with running. I love running now. I'm addicted to running. I've loved running ever since. I made that transition where it becomes something you do out of discipline to something you do because you love it, something you can't not do or you would feel crappy. And yeah, I've been running ever since.
Got me into running.
Well, I take some credit for that.
Now I run fucking more than you run.
Well, now, and isn't this ironic? The student has become the teacher. Yeah. If I was a less humble man, that might bruise my ego a little bit, but I'm completely comfortable with the fact that my little brother, who I got into running, now blows me out of the water when it comes to running. But yeah, talk about how you got into running.
Well, I got into running through you. The thing about me is I have the same story as you, where when I was younger, I was a sprinter and I played sports and all these things. And the crazy thing about it is I was always fast, but I did cross country. And I sucked. I would walk in 3-4 kilometer cross country runs. I'd be walking, you know what I mean? But I was one of the faster kids in the school. So yeah, we don't have distance running in our blood. But in high school, I was into bodybuilding. I was always into bodybuilding, even into my 20s. And then powerlifting.
Yeah, you were huge, by the way, in high school. You were one of those crazy kids in high school that discovered weightlifting and just went crazy and were huge. You were jacked in high school.
I was like 190 in high school. 5'10", 190 in high school. Didn't run at all, right? I just wanted to be as big as I could get.
All natural.
All natural.
Simpler times.
Yeah. And then I transitioned into powerlifting. And I got up to what, 250?
You know what I remember?
What's that?
Sorry, you're moving on. I keep dragging you back. But you know what? Just a flashback memory of when you were in high school and you got really into bodybuilding and you had to set your alarm for the middle of the night to eat. Do I remember this correctly?
No, that's correct. This goes back to our metabolism. When I was younger, I could eat whatever I wanted. Yeah. And that was the thing. You were making all these weird shake concoctions of, ice cream and eggs and protein powder and slamming them in the middle of the night to try and get big.
Right.
And then all of a sudden in your mid-20s, this switch happens.
So what would happen if you consumed protein like that now? Like what would happen now if you...
Oh, I'd gain weight in less than 8 days. I'd start gaining weight.
Right.
But back then, you would do these things, and then you'd weigh yourself after 2 weeks, and you'd be the same weight. You'd be 189 pounds. Like, I remember I never broke 200 pounds in high school. And now I'm 175, 176. I could be 200 pounds in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Literally. I go on vacation. I come back 10 pounds heavier. Water weight, whatever. Still.
Sure.
You
Crazy.
put it on so fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But,
Okay, so you go from bodybuilding to powerlifting.
Powerlifting.
And you were lifting like a maniac for a while.
Well, 4 years, serious into powerlifting. More of a deadlifter, but all three.
Yeah, and you were doing some crazy weight at some point. I mean, crazy to me.
Yeah, not crazy for powerlifting, but for, I've deadlifted 545,
Jesus
squatted 455, 300 bench, 315, but it was a little touch and go. Powerlifter might not let that one slide. And that was after you came down to film me that one time, and I got stapled with 300. Remember that?
That was great.
Yeah, that was great.
And
that was my toughest lift, the bench, always.
What I wouldn't do to have that video again.
Well, I think maybe you don't have it. I don't know.
I mean,
maybe you could dig it up.
I hope it's on a hard drive somewhere. But I think at the time you were like, destroy that video right now. But
But yeah, I was super into powerlifting, and then one day, I watched the K2 documentary on Netflix. And to make a long story short, I started getting into mountaineering and alpine climbing and rock climbing. And going to the climbing gym at 245 pounds, you rip your shoulders right out of the sockets on the first go. And I went to you, and you got me into running. I still remember the first time I went out with you. You said...
Wait, hold on one sec, though, just to clarify. You're saying you got into running initially because you got interested in mountaineering and rock climbing.
Yes.
And you were like, if I want to do this sport, I need to lose weight. I can't do this sport at this size.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was also in a rut with the powerlifting because my goal was always to deadlift 500. And once you deadlift 500, the crazy thing about powerlifting is you can deadlift 500, you put 505 on the bar, and it doesn't move.
Wow.
It's a weird thing. It's no different than a 135-pound bencher going up 5 pounds. It's the same as a 300-pound bencher putting on 5 pounds. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I deadlifted 545. And I'm like, where am I going to go from here? A 600-pound deadlift? I probably have to put on another 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm 250 pounds. My blood pressure is 150 over, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got into this.
You were huge.
Yeah,
you were a monster. I mean, that's fucking great. Don't get me
I
wrong.
had weight on me. I was natural. A natural lifter's going to have a little bit more body fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I basically went like cold turkey on it. I didn't deadlift or squat for a year straight. And just focused on running.
So initially you got into running to facilitate your interest in rock climbing.
Yeah.
Basically.
And the first time we went, I was still 205. The first time we went to the climbing gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I had the same problems with you. And actually for me, I didn't know how far I was running. I had this little I run to this top of the hill from my house. Maybe I thought it was 5 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, I couldn't get there without walking. And I finally did it a couple of times, and I checked on Google Earth how far it was. It was 400 meters, one lap of the track. And that was like 3 or 4 times I went out. But like you said, eventually one day you just kind of break through, and you get in a groove, and you run, and you go a kilometer or whatever. And from there, it kind of continues. But at that point, I was maybe running 800 meters a kilometer. And we went on our first run together at the cottage.
Right.
And you took me on an 8K run.
Was that 8K?
It was 8K. It was an 8K and it was an out and back. So I was basically stuck 4 kilometers from the cottage. Yeah.
I thought it was more like 5K.
No, because that spot where we found the Ouija board and all that crazy stuff in the woods the one day is 4 kilometers from the cottage, and that's where we turned around. Right where I rolled my ankle.
And was it the first run that you rolled your ankle? No,
it was the first run you took me with. I sprained my ankle because I was done. It was kilometer 5. We were on some trail in Muskoka somewhere. I'm completely done. I'm just, out of it, and I step on a huge rock, roll my ankle, sprain my ankle. And the funny thing is, you weren't feeling sorry for me. You kept going. I had to keep going.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that version. Here's the thing about you, bro. You don't forget. You also, like, you won't admit that you're, like, you don't want anyone's pity, and you won't, and you're not a quitter.
Okay.
And this is very respectable traits, by the way. I mean, this is a compliment. But where someone else would be like, "Oh, I rolled my ankle. I think I'm hurt. I have to walk home." You're like, "No, I'm cool, dude. Fuck it. Let's fucking do this." You know? So, you know, it wasn't that I'm just like so cold and callous that I made you run home. You were probably also like, "Yeah, fuck it, dude. I'm fine."
I could. I did. But I did.
You're not a quitter.
I did sprain it because the next day my ankle was all purple.
Oh, you fucking sprained it all right.
Yeah.
But you also, bro, have a historic tendency to just fucking give her and not. You don't back down from injuries. Like you've had many injuries over the years. It's never stopped you from doing what you're doing. You're not like, "Oh, I'm not working out for a month while I heal." Like you just fucking keep giving her.
To my detriment, maybe.
I'll let others be the judge of that. I'm just saying, you also know, if I remember correctly, the next day we were embarking on a pretty heinous camping trip involving some pretty hardcore portaging.
That is correct.
And, you know, other people would be like, "Oh, the trip's off. I just fucking sprained my ankle. You know, I can't fucking portage this." We had that fucking, you know, super old school heavy canoe. How much do you think that thing weighed?
Like 150 pounds.
150 pounds. That thing was a beast, you know, like a canoe that your average modern day fucking outdoorsy Torontonian doesn't even consider acceptable, right? Like they're just like,
it's so
that thing belongs in a museum. And how much does it weigh? Are you crazy? We're going to go rent these, 30-pound fiberglass modern-day fucking canoes, right? Yeah. But, you know, with our fucking dad, who's tough as nails and old school, and he's got this amazing ancient canoe that was, you know, made by lumberjacks in, like, the fucking 1920s. And
But to get back to the story, I
sprained my ankle. Sprain your ankle.
I vividly remember this run because it was traumatizing, but it also started my running career. We're 2 kilometers from the cottage. It starts fucking pouring rain. What do you do at this point? You fucking bounce and start sprinting back to the cottage, leaving me. And I tried to be honest, I kept up. I was within, 40 meters of you probably. But long story short, you don't remember this.
Well, I'm not sure I accept that it happened. Like you're saying, so we're running home. Or
yeah.
we're running back. Yeah, we're running back with. Oh, and you've got a sprained ankle.
Yeah, and I was carrying the rock too. Remember that?
Oh yeah, what was that about?
I just wanted to keep it because it was the fucking rock that sprained my ankle. I wanted to show it. I don't know.
Do you still have that rock?
No, I didn't actually make it all the way back to the. I chucked it after it started pouring rain, and you took off on me.
So now, all right, so we're running back, and then it starts to pour rain. And you're saying at that point, because I don't want to get wet, I speed up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you just feel like, fucking, I'm done with this run. I got to get back. Yeah, and we were probably running, like, so slowly. And actually, we did walk, just for the record. I didn't run 8K. You were okay with me walking a little bit.
When I walked with you?
Yeah, you walked with me. So for you, at this guy, you've done 8Ks, 10Ks already. You do 10Ks multiple times a week. To run an 8K with a non-runner who needs to do walking, throughout, 2 kilometers from the cottage, you're like, fuck this, I'm going.
Are you sure that happened?
I'm positive.
And I just left you there?
No, I kept up.
Well,
sort of.
Is it possible that I just thought that I was not being cognizant of how much your ankle hurt?
Yes.
And I just thought we're gonna run back.
You do surges to this day. We've talked about this on a run today. We just finished a run. And you do these weird surges, and I'm still not quite sure what they're about. But these like 15-meter surges in the middle of a run, and then you slow right back down to the original pace. So you go, and I'm like, okay, we're going to roll. And then next thing I know, you stopped again, and you're back to jogging. It was kind of like that, but you kept it. There was no conversation. There was no discussing this. It just started raining, and you were like, fuck this, I'm getting back to the cut.
Yeah. But you kept up.
I kept up, and I think it built my fitness, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even have shoes. I started off with it's funny, because I had a pair of Nikes that I left in the backyard over the winter. And for these people listening, we live in southern Ontario. Mm-hmm. So they basically sat out in 2 feet of snow all winter. So when I grabbed them in the spring, they looked fine. But from what I can guess, somehow the material had been weakened. Because my left foot blew right out the left side. And I had to borrow the next day for the camping trip a pair of Dad's boots. So I had sprained my ankle, the same ankle. My left foot, my toes are sticking out the left side of the shoe. It's pouring rain, and you take off. That was my first run with you.
There was a code brown on that run.
Did you want to bring it up? There absolutely was a code brown on that run. By you.
By me.
To this day, I've never had to do that.
Really?
I've witnessed you doing that at least twice.
Yeah, twice. I think
that's part of the reason why you wanted to get back.
Right, because let's face it, I didn't have any TP on me. So
I didn't know if you wanted to go there. Yeah, that's another reason why I think you just dropped that. It's pouring rain. Yeah. You're like, fuck this. The cottage is 2 kilometers away. I can get there in 9 minutes. See you later.
Yeah. That may have influenced my decision, my lack of sensitivity and compassion at that moment. Well, I mean, at least, your first run, you got a cool story out of it.
Yeah.
So where did you go from then? How do we fast forward to 2017, where you're a way more hardcore runner than I am, I think, I would say. And can fucking blow me out of the water on race day. Like, what the fuck happened in between there?
Well, what happened after that was shin splints.
Yeah, see, this is the crazy thing. I always forget this. You had the most... Like, let me just say this. 99% of the population, if they went through what you went through when you started running, if they faced the challenges, the physical, biological challenges that you did, they would give up. 99.9% of the population would have been like, oh, fuck it. I can't run. That's what they would say. They'd say, I can't run. I get shin splints.
Yeah.
I can't run. It fucking hurts like crazy. But you were just crazy determined that you wanted to be a runner, that you wanted to run. And I didn't understand it because I never experienced any of that. As we've discussed before, I'm a bit of a freak in that I have this incredible low number of injuries as someone that's been doing since I'm almost 40. And if I take a starting point at 18 when I fucking started doing Muay Thai for the first time, years of construction and heavy lifting. How many guys throw out their back doing that, or otherwise hurt themselves? Fucking judo, boxing, running, weightlifting. I've somehow almost never injured myself. I have 2 injuries I can think of. I sprained my shoulder doing judo, but not I can't remember what it's called, but the non-serious shoulder sprain. The one that's not a big deal. You lay off it for a month, you're probably going to be fine. And that was because I was training with a guy who didn't know what he was doing, and, which is classic scenario how you get injured in martial arts. Second injury is when I was living in New York and running a lot, I developed runner's foot. What they call runner's foot.
Plantar fasciitis.
look at you with the scientific name.
Yeah.
The thing where what's being affected is that tendon that connects your heel to the ball of your foot.
Okay.
Right?
I've never had it.
Okay.
I know people who've had it.
Okay. And I got it. It was pretty fucking bad, I gotta say. But, you know what? I got those fucking special soles for the feet. Special soles for my shoe.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the crazy scientific ones where they measure your feet. I mean the ones you get at Sport Check.
Yeah, the ones you're not supposed to go and buy.
The ones you're not supposed to go and buy. Yeah, I got my boy Brian fucking sort me out. He was working at a Sport Check at the time. Sorted me out with his employee discount. I still got them.
You got them in your shoes.
I've never replaced them. I've been milking them for years, so I don't even know if they're still do anything for me. But so I got runner's foot for a bit, but I beat it, and I've never had runner's foot since. Yeah. You, on the other hand, you started running, and your body started screaming in pain.
Yeah.
So tell that, because it's fucking phenomenal.
Well, I got shin splints. I got horrible fucking shin splints. And I couldn't do anything. What happened is even if I take ibuprofen, my calves would cramp up after. If I started running and I would stop, my calves would cramp up so bad. Sometimes I'd think I need to call and get my wife to come pick me up because I'd be like stranded.
Wow.
Yeah.
That bad.
Yeah, and I went through. Oh, you need shoes for overpronators, and you need orthotics, and you need calf sleeves, and you're doing too much too soon, and all this stuff. And I went through all of that, and none of that worked. And I finally, maybe I won't let it out on this episode, maybe on another episode, cracked the code. And actually, there's two people that I work with who I put them on this program and immediately got rid of shin splints.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, you don't want to get into that tonight.
I won't get into it tonight.
Okay. Can I grab some more JT?
You can grab some more JT.
Can I just grab the bottle?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, grab the bottle.
Okay, so we're not going to get into tonight. We're not going to get into how you beat shin splints, but you were talking about. We were at that point when you first started running. You're having all these physical fucking problems. You found out a way to beat the shin splints.
Yes.
And then what happens then?
Well, let's go back. Go back. Because the problem is with shin splints is you can't run 6 days a week with shin splints. You can run 2 days a week. And I know people who have shin splints and they try to take time off.
I don't even really still fucking know what shin splints are.
It's
you know that?
Horrible.
Because I have never ever experienced them. And I don't know how I'm so fucking lucky because I know they're horrible.
And it's really the only running injury I had is just fucking shin splints. But the problem is, coming from powerlifting, I'm very training specific at what do you got to do? Because in powerlifting, and I didn't need to do this at the time, but you think you do, is that you Google 5K training and people are like, oh, you got to do speed work. Oh, you got to do tempo runs. You got to do a long run. You got to do easy runs. So what do? I haven't even run a 30-minute 5K yet, and I'm at the track doing 400-meter repeats. So what does that do for my shin splints? Fucking horrible. The worst thing I could have done for my shin splints. So the first year was basically just one big clusterfuck of shin splints. Trying to do speed work, trying to do hill repeats, when really I just needed to run. At conversational pace running, you know what I mean? But I did my first with you, basically because I felt bad because I was more into the rock climbing thing. And I conned you in somehow into coming and belaying me at the gym multiple times. So when you were like, let's do a 5K, I'm like, fuck, I can't back out of this. Let's do the 5K. And I remember my shin splints were so bad that I took 3 weeks off. I had this person say oh, you need time off to get rid of your shin splints. So I took 3 weeks off before that race and came back 1 week before it. What do? Like an idiot. I go to the track and do 400-meter repeats, because that's what you do for 5K training. Did 400-meter repeats 6 days before the race and go into it with shin splints. But we ran it in Toronto, and we just wanted to go, well, you didn't. I still, to this day, think, you kind of held back from me. You kind of carried me through that. But we wanted to go sub 25. And I ran a 24. You were a little bit faster than me, but I ran like a 24:52.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was good. But basically, the first 2 years of running was I couldn't do anything to progress because I just had this injury. You know, if you want this shin splints, you can't run 6 days a week with shin splints. So I couldn't do the proper training to get good at running. And I hear about these people running 5 days a week. I couldn't figure out how they were doing it. Last fall, I said, fuck it. And I got a book from the library, this Jeff Galloway guy. And 5K program. Again, speed work. Tons of fucking speed work.
Okay.
Thinking even for, like, I was doing this sub 20 5K training. And I think I had something ridiculous. Like, not to hate the program, but, like, I think it was like 2400s at the track to run sub 20. But, like, you could probably run sub 20 just running 6-7 days a week if you're a pretty good athlete. Like, you do not need to go to the track and do 400 meter repeats. That's stuff that, like, 16-minute 5Kers do. Okay. Anyways, I followed the program and I just chomped on ibuprofens. And I went from 24:52, I'm going to say that, 24:50 something, to 21:39 with shin splints. Nice. Shin splint PR 21:39. Nice. And then over this winter, I cracked the code.
Okay.
Which brought us more to where we're at today, and I'm running basically 7 days a week because I work in an office, and taking a day off doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, because this is super interesting when you told me that, because when I got into running and then when I started, you know, you and me, and we've talked about this before, like, you approach running much more scientifically and like rationally than I do. Like you get, like, you go to the library and you get the book by Holloway or whatever. Galloway. And
yeah.
You do your research and all this stuff, and it's funny because I've kind of got a little bit into that with the pull-ups and the chin-ups.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, right? Recently I've got interested in that more scientific approach to getting stronger. I've been, because, you know, both of us are also into strength training.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to figure out how to improve my pull-up, my bar work, my pull-ups and my chin-ups. And so I got in a little bit of the kind of scientific approach. But in general, it doesn't come to me naturally. It's not the way my brain works. But you know, the bit of research I did do into running when I got into running, and then when I got runner's foot, and I was trying to figure out what went wrong.
Plantar fasciitis. I might be botching it too, though. Fuck.
Say it one more time.
Plantar fasciitis. It sounds horrible, by the way. It sounds like you have some.
Sounds like fungus.
Sounds like some gross fungus growing on your foot.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just
a damaged tendon.
Is it? Okay, right on.
Yeah, the tendon between the heel and the ball of your foot. That's what I seem to remember reading. Anyways, but I read repetitively, don't run every day. It's just too rough on your joints and your ankles and your knees. It's just not something you should do every day.
Yeah.
But you've fucking thrown that to the wind.
But I don't run on concrete sidewalk every day.
Okay, so there makes a difference.
So it's a whole other episode, but I don't. I avoid concrete at all costs. We ran on concrete today, but we went out for a 35, 40-minute run, and that's easy. And we did it once, and the next time I run's not going to be on a concrete sidewalk. Right?
Okay.
But I guess maybe we should talk about what we're doing this summer.
Okay.
And what we're going to be talking about over the next few episodes.
Okay.
So we got plans for this summer.
We do. Okay, so do you have your whole race schedule set for the summer? Do you know all the races you're going to do?
I'm not doing any races this summer.
No more races?
No, I just came off of 3. I came off of 5K and 2 8Ks, and I'm done.
Why are you done?
Because I want to build mileage and focus on the fall.
Okay.
And it gets too hot. It gets too hot out where we're at, anyways.
Okay. So,
to crank in a 5K.
Okay.
In 30 degrees or whatever it's gonna be in the summer.
So did you mean you want to talk about the Adirondacks?
We're gonna go back to the Adirondacks, yeah.
Okay.
I guess I should talk about that.
Well, you're the fucking Adirondacks, man. I fucking still mispronounce the fucking word.
So
and I can't spell it, by the way.
So last
year... You must notice that when we're texting, I send you the weirdest...
Well,
hey, man, when are we going to the Andrionatics? Like, I can't fucking spell that word. I can't remember how to pronounce it properly for the life of me.
Yeah.
It's a weird mental block I have.
Right on.
I fucking climbed a mountain there, and I still can't fucking spell it.
So last year...
Embarrassing.
Last year we did Marcy.
Mount Marcy.
We did Mount Marcy.
Are we telling the story about Marcy? That's for another fucking podcast.
Yeah, because there were some interesting things that went down.
That was a fucking, that was an epic.
Yeah, that was
journey.
An epic trip.
Yeah.
So this year we're gonna do. You don't even know this, but we're gonna do Giant.
Okay.
We're gonna do Eagle Slide, which is more of a scramble.
Okay.
4th class scramble, and then we're gonna try and run up Gothics.
Okay.
Via the Cables Trail.
Okay, what's the cable? Oh, like when you mean?
Yeah, but maybe we don't use the cables.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know the terrain. If we go up there and it's like 5th class and you got a 100-foot fall, I'll probably grab the cables.
Okay.
If it's like a 4th class scramble.
Okay, for our listeners who are like me and at one point had no idea what the Adirondacks was. What are the fucking Adirondacks?
They're in Lake Placid.
It's a mountain range.
It's a mountain range. I think there's 40... I'm going to fuck this up. There's 46 or 48 mountains over 4,000 feet. And they're basically 3,000-foot mountains. Not super high altitude or something like that, but it's the closest thing we have from Toronto area.
In New York State.
It's in New York State. So going back, we're going to link up a couple of them. Like I said. And we're going to do a bunch of trail runs. We're going to do lots of trail runs this summer. Which is more your thing. I'm down with the trail runs too. And
well, again, I also think trail running is one of these things where the fucking student has become the master. Like, I think you know way more about trail running than I do at this point. I've been trail running longer and probably done more trail running than you. But
okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, basically, the plan is we're going to do, these 2 mountains. We're going to do a bunch of trail running. And this fall, I'm doing a half marathon in preparation for a 5K. I like the 5K. I like the idea of hammering. I want to get really good at the 5K. That's kind of my goal race right now. And I don't think the 5K gets enough respect, especially with the average runner. I think they jump into the half marathon and then they spray about how they ran a half marathon. But I think an elite 5K runner shows that you're in amazing shape. And it's a youth event, too. For a guy who's 35, I'm 35, you're 37. The fact that you can be able to still be competitive in a 5K shows you have a certain level of fitness that definitely starts to deteriorate in your 40s. You know what I mean? So that's the goal. So I'm going to do a half marathon as kind of a long run, 4 to 6 weeks out from a couple of 5Ks this fall, and that's the plan. And maybe you can jump in some of those.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, we'll share some stories of some of our past races. We're going to talk about how you fucking conquered your shin splints.
Yes.
We'll talk about some of our experience running in different cities. Vancouver, New York City, Toronto.
I think that's it.
That's it for tonight?
Wrap it up, episode 1.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
We're going to finish this bottle of JT or what?
We pretty much finished it. So, yes. I'll have the last 2 drops out of the bottle.